Two title matches, spears and RKOs out of nowhere, and an incredible champion versus champion match, so just keep watching. Let's just keep it real, we've all got WrestleMania hangovers, but there is no rest for the weary, so let's get right to the matches and just keep getting your lass kicked as Liv Morgan sends Lyra Valkyria to oblivion to regain the women's tag titles less than 24 hours after they lost them. But oblivion is better than where Lyra went next, as Becky Lynch brutally turned on her partner and manhandle slammed her 3 times before leaving the ring. So Liv and Raquel are the ones, as Liv was not intimidated by Becky tonight, and she went right after her, right after the bell, and then stopped a team powerbomb on Raquel with a powerbomb of her own to Becky, and that left Raquel to powerbomb Lyra. And Liv simply stuck with it and outlasted everyone else in this match as she came back from a blocked oblivion to catch Lyra in another one. So they become 4-time women's tag team champions and go to 3-2 in traditional tags. But that means Becky and Lyra are the twos, as Becky manhandle slammed Liv early on, but Raquel broke it up. And then Lyra had a nice tornado DDT into a Nightwing combo on Raquel, but Liv put Raquel's foot on the bottom rope. So this broke the record of the shortest women's tag team title reign at 4 days that was previously held by Alexa and Asuka. But I'm sure it'll be the last one, as Becky hugged Lyra after the loss, only then to clothesline her and beat on her until she decided to stop after 3 manhandle slams. Well, this match definitely topped last night's match for quality and certainly surprised everyone, with Becky kicking her fellow Irish lass to the curb, so this gets an okay. Next, we just keep standing and delivering as Stephanie Vaquer challenges Io Sky in a champion versus champion match that was not for either title, and it became an absolute show stealer until an NXT takeover took place with Roxanne Perez attacking Io to force a DQ. So Io is the ones, and she said that yesterday was the best night of her life and declared herself to be the best, only then to be interrupted by the best of NXT as Stephanie Vaquer, the NXT Women's Champion, came out to challenge her in a champion versus champion non-title match. So even Adam Pearce could not mess this one up, and he made it official. So we had some strong technical wrestling right off the bat with several near falls as each other felt the other out. And Io had some nice moves with a missile drop kick, a backbreaker, but it was highlighted by a Spanish fly off of the top rope. But that's when Roxanne came out of nowhere to get a piece of Io. That unfortunately stopped this masterpiece in its tracks, but then Julia of NXT also appeared to knock down Stephanie, so those two then switched to ground and pound the other competitor before they were saved by Rhea Ripley. And Rhea cleared the ring by headbutting Roxanne out of it and had a stare down with Julia, who just decided to back down. So Rhea picked up that title and handed it back to Io, saying that she is coming back for it. But she also has a black eye after yesterday's match, so maybe she should wait a week or two. Nonetheless, Roxanne has to get a 1-week suspension for forcing the DQ and will add a fine for Julia for piling on. But Io does get a DQ win, so she's 2-1-1 in one-on-one matches. That makes Stephanie the twos, and she twice imitated Io's moves with a Meteora after a bullet train, and then immediately followed a German suplex with one of her own. And she had an incredible fake Hurricane Rana right into a near fall that didn't quite get the job done. But yes, you got to see the Devil's Kiss. And somewhere else in Vegas, Booker T was a very happy man. But Steph goes to 0-1 in one-on-one matches on the main roster. And I guess I'd have to say there were a lot of happy men after this match, and some women as well, because we went above "This is awesome" chants that we had 2 of, all the way to "Fight Forever" chants. So while Perez can go kick some rocks for ending this one early, it was just way too good to get anything but a double okay. Next, we just keep having an Irish ace up your sleeve as JD McDonough makes a surprising return to push Penta off of the top rope, allowing Dom to hit a dropkick, 619, and frog splash to retain the Intercontinental title. So Dom is the ones, and he kept up a little better than we would have expected, and he led that with a tornado DDT, but things looked awfully bleak for him until McDonough appeared for the first time since January. So Dom somehow has 2 wins in 2 nights, and this was his first successful title defense, but he's just 1-3 in one-on-one matches. So Penta is the 2s, and he had an incredible Hurricane Run right into a Mexican destroyer that probably would have won it for him, but Dom somehow found a way to roll out of the ring. And then Finn Balor checked on him at ringside, only for himself to get Ron'd right into Dom against the barricade. But Penta could not account for McDonough's return, so he takes his 3rd IC title loss already, all with some outside interference by the Judgment Day, and he drops to 6-2-1 in one-on-one matches. So McDonough has to get a 1-week suspension here for his interference that directly impacted the outcome. But it looks like the Judgment Day is one big happy family again, as long as Finn Balor keeps his word that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But with Penta being foiled over and over again, we have to give this a not okay. And with that, let's go beyond the mat for Raw, where John Cena kicked things off, and he made Mark Nash, the ring announcer, read off a second, more appropriate intro for him, as he said that winners write history, and he repeated that the fans do not mean anything to him. And he also noted that he has 36 dates lined up for 2025, and this was number 9, so after tonight, there are only 27 dates left. Which I have to admit is not really that bad, as we only have 36 weeks left in the year, so that means he's only taking 9 weeks off, as Roman Reigns typically missed 9 out of every 10 weeks, so this is a lot better than that. But Cena said that Rhodes was the fans' best chance to save themselves, since no one has the ruthless aggression that he does. But since he has a heart, he gave everyone a photo opportunity before the Viper, Randy Orton, appeared right behind him and RKO'd him out of nowhere. So Randy, you are really testing my patience here. First, you don't take KO's side against Cody Rhodes, and now you're RKOing the GOAT for no real apparent reason whatsoever. But I have to admit, this big former rival of John Cena's does seem like a pretty good idea here for a match, so I'll give this an okay. The Alpha Academy interrupted the New Day's celebration of calling themselves the best tag team alive or dead, so Maxine then challenged them to a title match, but they refused until she called them Minutemen, so with their masculinity at stake, they accepted the title match. So while they somehow lost to the Alpha Academy in about a minute several months ago, I think most men would probably take it as a win if Maxine got to call them a Minuteman. But just when the bell was about to ring, the lights went out and Rusev returned for the first time since February of 2020, and he did not look happy, so the New Day scattered and he wiped out Tozawa with a fallaway slam and Otis by clutching in that accolade. So I guess this was not a happy Rusev day, but he does look like he's ready to crush. So even though he stopped a title match, I think they can just do that next week, so we'll give Rusev an okay. Jey Uso came out to yeet with the crowd and said that he'll be there every week for them, so Sami Zayn finally returned after nearly getting himself killed at the Elimination Chamber, saying that he is proud of Jey and that Jey deserves it, so we got even more yeeting. And then Big Jim arrived and they yeeted even more. So I guess Jey did earn this title by winning when it mattered the most, so for one day I'm not going to complain too much about the yeeting because he does deserve this moment, but seriously, let's get down to business next week. But today, you get an okay. They showed Kathy Kelly interviewing Logan Paul after his match at WrestleMania, saying that he's ready to face anyone at any time. But I guess anytime was not tonight, even though all he had to do was walk down the strip, but that was too much for him, so for today it's a double not okay. But Jackie then interviewed AJ Styles because at least he showed up, but he was interrupted by Karrion Kross yet again, who lamented that Styles was the best of us, but now his loss has legitimized Paul. But Styles admitted to hating to being the guy that he used to be, so he told Kross to solve his problem himself, and he said that maybe he will, so TikTok to you, Logan, and this gets an okay. Gunther was arguing with Michael Cole when we returned from a commercial break, and after Gunther removed Cole's headset, McAfee tried to get into Gunther's way to ward off Cole, which just led to Gunther pushing McAfee and then choking Michael Cole. So McAfee came in with a flying elbow to try to save Michael Cole, but this cost him dearly as Gunther locked in a sleeper that he held onto forever, and even with several officials trying to stop him and McAfee's stooges being held back, well, McAfee's face turned completely red, so when he finally let go, McAfee struggled for air, coughing all the way to the trainer's room to be evaluated, but Cole returned to the announce table saying that he would not be bullied. Of course, this is completely unacceptable by our former champion, so he has to get a 1-month suspension, and we have to give him a double not okay. We got a vignette showing El Grande Americano being praised back in Mexico for returning to the top of Lucha Libre, and they apparently love and adore him so much that they built a brand new statue for him in one day. Well, I guess everyone loves the return of a hero, so we can't argue with it, and we'll give it an okay. And finally, Seth Rollins gloated over his win, causing CM Punk to storm to the ring, and he took it to Rollins and turned his attention then to Paul Heyman, pushing him into the corner, which allowed Rollins the time to come from behind and gouge his eyes, and he followed that up with a stomp. So Heyman declared a new #1 top star, which Roman Reigns did not like so much, so he came into the ring to take out Rollins, and when he did, he also turned his attention to Heyman and Superman punched him. But he was not done, as he then also went for a spear, but while he was charging towards Heyman, Braun Breaker in a hoodie speared him out of nowhere. But he was not done there, as he saw CM Punk get back into the ring, so he speared him as well, allowing Rollins and Breaker to start celebrating, only to see Reigns stirring, so Breaker added a super spear through the barricade. And that allowed Rollins to get the final blows in with stomps to both Punk and Reigns to end the show. So wow, when you have two dudes with the smarts of Rollins and Heyman together and they recruit a dog like Braun Breaker to the mix, it looks like this group is going to be simply unstoppable. But one final point here, Roman Reigns, geez, yeah. You did take a low blow from Heyman, but he is 59 years old and absolutely no physical threat. So you think you're now some tough guy to Superman punch him and try to spear him? No, he was completely justified, as you left him high and dry with Sikoa and the new bloodline for months and months, only then to be put through an announce table, and you didn't bother to help him at all. So yeah, a low blow was the retribution that you deserved, but what you did tonight was simply evil. But hey, at least it caused you to show up for a change. But in the end, you ended up where you belonged, on the mat. So yeah, this one has to get a double okay. But we do have to make one final point here, because isn't the Raw after WrestleMania supposed to be a big deal? And yet, your general manager, Adam Pearce, could only book 2 matches. That's right, he only booked the Women's Tag Team Championship match and the Intercontinental title match, because he cannot even be praised for coming up with that champion versus champion match, as that one just came about on the fly. So yeah, he at least approved it, but I think anyone could have done that. And then on top of it, you didn't even let that tag team title match on the men's side get started because you could not control Rusev to get to the ring. So, simply put, you completely failed to do your job by only having 2 matches. So, yet again, it's time to petition to fire Adam Pearce, and you get a double not okay. I hope you had a good restful off-season of about 20 hours, because here we go again, as the story is never really over. But if you want to reminisce about all the fun times we had at WrestleMania 41, be sure to go right on over here and check out all my grades for every single match. Because if you don't like somehow only getting 3 matches in a 3-hour show, that would be not okay.